Right, this is exciting. Is everyone filming? You used to filming, yeah? Let's go for a little drive. Turn it off. Go for a little drive in a Maserati Granturismo S. Right, so I am driving down Dunstable High Street. I'm on my way home right now in a Maserati Granturismo S. Now, I've never actually driven a Maserati before, and I'm so happy that the first one that I've ever driven is one of these. The Granturismo S is basically, they do a Granturismo, then they do the S. The S is actually a massive extra. It's got a bigger engine in it. The non-S has got the 4.2 V8 and the S has got a 4.7 V8, and they differ by about 40 horsepower. So this one's got about 440 brake horsepower, whereas the non-S has got just a bit shy of 400 brake horsepower. Still a lot, but naturally you want the one with more power. This car's a 2010, and I think because we're on the roads, we can't really do too much about the performance, because I can't drive like too much of an idiot, because 450 brake horsepower or whatever it is, 440 brake horsepower, being driven hard on a normal road in rush hour traffic, it's just not going to work. You're going to end up in the back of an ambulance or something, and talk of the devil, we've got an ambulance. So whether it's me or someone else, it's not a good idea. So I think what I'm going to focus this video on are two nice factors, nice bits of characteristic that this car has that should be talked about, should be highlighted to anyone who's about to buy one, because I think there are two things that are quite important. The two things that stand out for me most with this car, so bear in mind I've never driven one before. I got in here, I was excited about driving one because Maserati is a big brand, it's something that we all know and love. It's up there with a lot of other high-end brands like Porsche and Ferrari, and it's a big brand, yeah? So I was excited about driving it. Now I sat in the driver's seat, and the first thing, so one of the two things that I want to talk about, the first thing I noticed was, well, you probably noticed it as well, the interior. The interior of this car, the build quality, which I didn't expect. I did not expect the build quality of this car to be so bloody good. It is like, I wouldn't go as far as saying it's like a Bentley, because it doesn't have the same feel as a Bentley. It's just got so much class in it. But the quality of the leather, the quality of the seats, the sponginess of the seats, the comfort of them is phenomenal. Moving on from the seats and just the overall look of the interior, the steering wheel, the buttons, the amount of buttons and dials and stuff we've got going on in here, it's just got everything going for it. It's got digital climate control, sat nav, multifunctional steering wheel with like buttons everywhere, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's even got 3 on the back of each side of the steering wheel. 8 plus 6, that's 14 buttons on one steering wheel. We've got paddles either side for the gearbox, and by the way, that's a bloody good gearbox, 6-speed ZF gearbox. It's perfect, just suits the car perfectly. It's responsive and it goes through the gears nicely. So it's kind of got the class of, I don't know, of an Aston Martin, but performance of a supercar, although it feels quite tame compared to a supercar. I think the thing is with a Maserati is they are actually owned by Ferrari, so in the back of your head you're constantly feeling like, I know you're not, and it's quite bad really that I say this, but you kind of feel like you're in a Ferrari. And I know that's probably going to get laughed at, I shouldn't really say that, but it is a special car. That V8 under the bonnet is actually the same V8 they use in the Ferrari F430. It's not exactly the same, it's a little bit different. They do get more power out of the one in the F430, and there's a little bit of a difference in the engine size, but it is a similar engine. It started off life as the exact same engine, and that's important. The gearbox is out of a Ferrari 599, like who else on the road can say that? And it's got this classy interior which compares or competes with things like Porsche and Bentley. So we've got a Ferrari derived sports car with 4 seats, by the way, with stacks of legroom in the back. Got a bit of headroom, plenty of legroom, and it's comfortable. which sounds amazing, looks amazing, has all this luxury and quality, and the big point that I'd like to get to is the value for money. It's so affordable. So I've got all these qualities, all these boxes ticked that I love to talk about, and it's such an affordable car to buy. This car, you can get one for as little as £30,000, I'm talking about for an S, and for even less if you want the non-S. If you went for a 4.2 V8, you can get one for less than 30 grand. It looks like a millionaire's car. It looks like something that is out of everyone's reach, but it's actually, I wouldn't say affordable because that's still quite a lot of money, but it's achievable for more people. If you're driving down the road in a Ferrari, you have to have a serious pocket to be able to, one, buy it, two, run it, and just all in all, to own a Ferrari, you need to be earning some serious bloody money. A Maserati, you'd think, would be quite comparable, but it's not. This car is sort of between 35 and 40 grand. Not that I'm trying to sell it to anyone, because I'm not, because by the time this video goes live, it'll probably be sold. But I think it's bloody good value for money. Now, going back to the two things that I said I wanted that I wanted to highlight, the two things that stood out for me with this car. The first one was obviously the quality of the interior. I love all of this. I love the way it looks. I love the way it feels. The smell. I know you can't smell through the camera, but it's just a nice overall feel inside. That was the first thing. The second thing that really stands out for me with this car is if I undo the window and give it a bit of throttle, the sound of this car is unreal. It roars and purrs. It's a 4.7 V8 with no turbo, and what a beautiful sound. What a lovely sound. I got in this car, I drove it down the road. Even when I started the engine, before I drove it down the road, when I got in this car initially, I started the engine. I obviously knew there was a V8 under there, but sometimes you take that for granted. You get in, you put the key in the ignition, you start the engine, and you're like, wow, this thing just rattles and wobbles, and you can feel the theatre under the bonnet just releasing through the exhaust. It's a joke. Annoyingly, you can't fully feel that through the camera, but you kind of get the idea that if I show you some more exhaust tones now. You get the idea. It sounds bloody good. I think a brand that I've always compared Maserati to is Aston Martin, and I have driven Aston Martins previously. I've never driven a Maserati, and after driving this car now, in my opinion, they are absolutely incomparable. Aston Martin do make some beautiful cars, and a couple of weeks ago I got my hands on an Aston Martin DB9. It was an older car than this, admittedly. It was 2006. It was a beautiful car. It ticked just as many boxes as this car does, but honestly, I would much rather have this car for the same amount of money, because I think it's just a much better car. The Aston Martin has leather, it has sat-nav, it has a big engine. In fact, the DB9's got a V12, which is impressive, but the performance is poor. The build quality isn't nowhere near as good as this car, and don't know, for me, when I got in an Aston Martin DB9 and I got in this, I just remember the feeling I felt when I got in this car, and honestly, this car puts a bigger smile on my face than any Aston Martin I've ever driven. Right, so this video kind of got cut a bit short for me because I was home before I'd finished talking about it. So what I'd done is I went home, had a bit of food, and I decided to come back out again to this nice location. We've got a church in the background, it's just up the road from my house, and kind of end the video in a bit more of a relaxed way. So I'm stood here, obviously, with this beautiful Granturismo S, and I've absolutely loved driving this car. Honestly, it's such a beautiful car in so many ways. Obviously the looks, look at it, it looks phenomenal, but the quality of that interior, like I said, there are two things that really stood out for me, the interior and the sound. And that interior is a joke. If you've not sat in one of these cars before, if you've not seen inside one, which I hadn't until I'd driven this, you need to just get your head inside one. If you ever see one at a car show or out and about, just look inside one of these cars, have a feel, try and sit in it, because honestly, the class and the quality of that interior is phenomenal. And I think generally, like when you think of Germans, for example, you think of engineering, and when you think of Italian, you do think of that quality of leather, that quality of the interior, and that definitely meets that expectation. This car, this car kind of offers a lot to so many different people, and I believe there's so many people out there that would consider buying one of these right now. Porsche 911s have got a massive following, and I reckon a lot of people that are considering a 911 would probably consider buying one of these. And like I said, an Aston Martin DB9, that's another alternative. And honestly, if you're about to buy an Aston Martin DB9 and you've not driven one of these, I seriously think after you've driven this, you will not consider buying a DB9, because this car, I promise you, is so much better than an Aston Martin DB9. It's got that quality interior. It's got the V8 under the bonnet, which sounds amazing. It carries 4 people. It's got spec like nothing else, and it looks absolutely stunning. Now, if you're new to my channel, if you've not seen me before, basically, I'm sure you've guessed, my name's Calvin, and this is basically my car diary. I own a car buying company. I buy and sell cars, and I'm in a different car every single day of my life, and I try to document as much of it as I possibly can through videos for YouTube. Now, if I could, I'd be making videos all day, every day, and I'd be bringing you so much content all the time. But right now, I try and keep it to one video a week, every single Sunday at 7 o'clock. I upload a different video of a different car every week. So if you are new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. I don't just do this type of car. I mean, one day I could be in a Vauxhall Corsa. I've had a laugh in Ford Ka-As and smart cars, and you might see me in a Ferrari or a Lamborghini at some point. But the point is, I love all types of cars. I consider everything. I appreciate everything from classics to high-end cars to bloody people carriers. I love all types of cars, and I think I share that passion with so many of you lot. So if you are new to my channel, hit the subscribe button, and if you did like this video, hit that thumbs up button, because that helps me massively. And hopefully, if you are new to me, I'll see you again soon. Plenty of leg room, and it's comfortable.
What are you doing?
I'm getting out now.